Welcome to another basketball edition of the Adrienne Ross Show. I got a good one for you today because I've given this quite some thought. I know that there are people who are new to watching the WNBA or people like me who used to watch and then left and came back. And you look at the WNBA and you say that there are some things that are good and there are various and sundry things that need to be changed, that need to be improved. And I've heard people say, man, it seems like it's from the top. It's on down, from the top on down. So how do you shore up the areas of the WNBA that desperately need shoring up? I'm going to tackle this from a leadership perspective. Now, before you ask, let me tell you, I have a background, obviously, in education. As many of you know, I taught 7th grade English for nearly 2 decades. I coached girls varsity basketball, but I'm also a certified, John Maxwell certified leadership trainer, communication trainer. I'm John Maxwell certified speaker, trainer, and coach. And John Maxwell, of course, is regarded highly as the #1 leadership expert in the world. So I know a little something about leadership. I've gone into businesses, churches, etc., and worked with individuals in terms of personal growth, business growth, leadership. Okay, so I'm looking through those lenses right now, okay? And so I'm going to share with you 5 things I would change ASAP, ASAP, if I were commissioner of the WNBA. 5 things that I would change right now. And so what I mean by that is I'm going to get to work on it right now, okay? I'm going to get even deeper into work on it when this season ends shortly. And it needs to be done ASAP because it needs to be implemented by the start of the next season. 5 things. There are probably more, but these 5 things I'm going to share now. So I'm asking you to stick with me through this whole video. And then in the comments, you can tell me where I went right. You can tell me where I went wrong. But before we get to it, thank you for all of your support. We are over 24,000 subscribers. I really appreciate that. If you've not made the commitment yet, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on, and let's just do a little bit of life together. And now to today's topic. Here we go. All right, 5 things I would change ASAP if I were commissioner of the WNBA. Number 1, media training. Everyone affiliated with the WNBA needs to undergo intense media training from a media expert. So let me explain. I'm not just talking about players. I'm talking about coaches. I'm talking about players. I'm talking about executive office people. I'm talking about everyone who's got some kind of public image, some kind of public presence in the WNBA. Media training is essential ASAP. Again, you start to get this stuff rolling. You implement this stuff when the season ends, as far as starting to train. And then listen, when next season rolls out, you're ready to rock and roll. So when you give this training, good training, you're going to eliminate some of the stuff we've seen. The Kalia Copper interview style, and I'll share some stuff, and some of it is so ridiculous, all you can do is laugh uproariously, okay? None of that Kalia Copper stuff, none of the Kennedy Carter stuff where she's telling you what questions she's not going to answer, none of that. No, none of the Asia Wilson stuff where she's just laughing and just totally bowled over, and her coach cracking up like that. Okay, none of the Cheryl Reeve, we don't give 2 SHITS about the fans. None of that. This is a business. And you know what? People are judged, and the business is judged by how they present themselves. Now, let me say, I'm not saying that you can't have some spice. Every athlete has a little spice to him. Kobe Bryant has some spice to him, and I loved Kobe Bryant. So I'm not saying no spice, no personality. I'm saying none of the stuff I just mentioned, none of the making us look bad. It's got to go, okay? So media training is absolutely essential. And part of that has to be Even something as simple as this. You come to the post-game interview. They didn't used to do it, but now everybody who comes to the table has a stat sheet. You're not even making eye contact the whole time. They're reading off the stat sheet. Listen, we don't need you to be that specific that you can't look up. You got to be reading the stat sheet. It doesn't look good. That's a minor thing. They got bigger problems, but I'm saying that while I'm doing the media training, I want to put that out there as well. All right. So you've got to be trained because this is trained. This is not natural to just everybody. Caitlin Clark, her background, her degree is in marketing. Okay. She's got a certain flair. These other players, they don't seem to understand the importance of the media, the importance of how you present yourself. Let me take you back to the Cosby Show. How many of you watched the Cosby Show? Hands up if you ever watched the Cosby Show. Heathcliff Huxtable. Remember him? All right, you might remember in the later years of the show, his daughter Vanessa went off to college, came back home. She didn't leave the show, but she was in the show. It was written that she was off to college. She came back home one day. She had a man with her. His name was Dabnus. He was an older man too. So the family was a little bit shocked. They were more shocked because they had never heard of Dabnus. She comes in the house, tells the family, I'm engaged. I'm getting married. And the family was like, so after dinner, they have Heathcliff has a little conversation with Dabnus because it kind of looks like they don't like him. And so Heathcliff was trying to explain to him. He said, listen, what do you like to eat? And Dabnus said, oh, well, what you had right here, that's pretty good. He said, no. What do you really like to eat? And he said, well, sometimes I like me a good steak. Okay, you like a steak? Yeah. How do you like it? Well, I think I like it, medium rare. Sounds pretty good. All right, what you like with your steak? Oh, some potatoes is good. Oh, you like potatoes? Yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, what about some carrots? Oh, yeah, all that. He said, okay, so I make the steak just like you like it. I got the potatoes, got the carrots, got all that ready for you. And Dabnus' mouth is just the watering because they just served him fish sticks, okay? So his mouth is just watering. And so Heathcliff says, so I get all that ready. And you know what I do? I take it and I put it on a garbage lid. And all of a sudden, Dabnus' smile just drops. He ain't so hungry anymore. Put it on the garbage can lid and I hand it to you. You don't like that, do you? And he said to him, see, it's all in the presentation. That's how Vanessa brought you in here, on the garbage can lid. And that's what I think about when I think about the WNBA or any business, okay? You can have a great product, okay? You can work hard. And you know what? It's all in the presentation. And too often, these players and coaches and those affiliated with the league are bringing us the product on a garbage can lid. And people don't want that. So media training is a must. Let's move on. Number 2, I would clean house with officials. The officiating is a problem. Throughout every game, after the game, people are talking about the officials. No, officials, we shouldn't be talking about officials. We want to be talking about the players. But the officiating, and I'm not saying that, players, there's never been a player who's ever committed a foul. Okay. So I'm not talking about that. Some players are just going to complain. That's what players do. Right. But I'm talking about egregious errors in officiating. I'm talking about inconsistency in officiating. That has to stop. I'm talking about fouls that should absolutely be called like 2, 3, 4 times because they're so bad and they're not called. Or the whistle blowing constantly when it's ticky-tack, when it's not even a foul. We need to figure it out. Can we hand check or not? Can we push off or not? Can we knock somebody's head off or not? Like, really? And it's too up and down. So if I'm commissioner of the WNBA, ASAP, I gotta get in on this. Okay. I need a task force, and I need whether they're former NBA officials or whatever, former WNBA officials who are good at what their job was or whatever. You need them involved in some kind of training, but you got to clean house too. So I would take some people, this task force, I would assign them particular officials who are already in the league, and I would study. You know how you study, players study and coaches study for the other team? I would study our officials. Who are the officials who are ruining it every time, who are blowing calls? Who are the officials we got to wonder, are they in, tank for somebody? Who are these officials who are just bad? No offense. but we got a league to run here, and we need top-notch people. Okay, we need professionals. All right, so who they are, assign them, study the past games, get rid of the bad ones. You know what? You're just not cut out for our league. We're looking for a fit. You're not that fit. I'm sorry. Hire new ones, and they all need to be trained. Train the ones who remain, train the new ones who are coming in. So officiating has got to be a focus. I feel if I'm commissioner, this is the focus. There also has to be automatic post-game review by the league and whoever your newly trained people are, maybe the people in the upper echelon who are sort of overseeing everything, and some, the ones who are your advisors on every flagrant. It has to be reviewed post game, and it has to be done better. If it's being done at all, it has to be done better. You have to assess, and there has to be consequences. Has to be. Okay. So they've already told us. They always talk about the physicality. We know that word in my sleep, physicality. They always talk about physicality. They let us know that there is hazing of rookies. So we know what's going on. Okay. So we know that they're not above hurting people, because that's part of it's in their DNA to do that, and they're proud of it. No, it's got to be going forward. I'm commissioner, zero tolerance for that kind of thing, for hazing, for this so-called physicality that's really nothing but bully ball. It's got to stop. Again, I understand basketball is a tough sport. There's some banging that goes on. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the over-the-top stuff. Zero tolerance. Okay. So the officials have to understand that. That has to be part of the training, period. Okay. All right. In addition to that, we have got to cut down the time that they're taking to review plays. If there's a review of something, please don't take 20 minutes. I know I'm exaggerating, but my goodness, listen, we don't want to sit there for like a half hour. Yes, I know I'm exaggerating, but still, we don't want to sit there that long while you get it together. So in your training, in your hiring, you have got to find people who can look at a play, look at it a couple times, and come up with a decision. I mean, that's your job. Like, for real, you got to make split-second decisions. We give you a little bit more than a split second, but all this time, it's ridiculous, and you're just sitting there. You're just sitting there. It needs to stop. First, personally, I am just not a fan of reviewing anyway. I know I'm old school, but back in the day, the call was the call, and that was the end of the story. It was the human element that kind of made it part of everything. Just like you take a shot, you miss your free throw, you don't get to take the same free throw all over again. We don't get to say, it is what it is. That's the human element of it. I kind of like that. But since review has been around for a while, okay, do it fast, please. All right. Next, this one may rub some people the wrong way. It is what it is. If I'm commissioner of the WNBA, the woke stuff, it has to go. It has to go. I don't want anybody coming in wearing t-shirts that alienate the players, that alienate teams, that alienate and disrespect the nation either. So, for example, Black Girls Rock, Cheryl Reeve, white woman, Black Girls Rock. No, it has to go. I'm a Black girl, and I still say it has to go. It's pandering. Frankly, as one of those Black girls, I find it insulting. I don't need you to tell me I rock. When you do that, it sort of suggests that I really don't rock all that much, because I need you in your superiority complex to let me know I'm okay. And unless you give me that validation that I'm not okay, people who rock just go about rocking. They don't have to announce that they rock, and we don't need you to announce that we rock either. And we don't need you to alienate the other people on your team or other people in the league. We all rock. So just pass the rock and play the game. That's all. The Black Lives Matter logos and stuff, again, there are people who are going to hear this, like, oh, she's a sellout. No, usually when people say things like that, they haven't done their homework. Again, Black Lives Matter, All lives matter. And yes, that includes Black people. It includes white people. It includes Chinese people. It includes Christians. It includes Jewish. It includes everybody. And nobody needs you to tell us that we matter. We just go about mattering. We just do. And like I said, the research, Black Lives Matter, a Marxist group, corrupt, found to be corrupt, and they admit that one of their goals is to eradicate the nuclear family. Is that really what the Black family needs? The Black family doesn't need, the Black community doesn't need the Black family breaking up the family. It's just not, it's not a good thing. But a lot of times people get on board with stuff and they want to bring it into the league. They want to be activists and they don't even know what they're doing. They don't even know how they're denigrating. They don't even know what's at the root of what they're standing for. Let's just be unified. Let's just honor and respect all people. Let's cut out the woke stuff. How about we do that? Stop jumping on bandwagons. Let's have a message of unity. Yeah, when something is wrong, individuals can speak out on what is wrong. But we're not, as a league, going to embrace these things that alienate other people. Just not going to do it if I'm the commissioner, okay? The national anthem, leaving during the national anthem, thankfully, I haven't seen that. But there's a history of that, you know, of saying we shouldn't do the national anthem, of disrespecting the national anthem. Ask Brittany Griner, but she changed her tune. Something like Russia came into play there, okay? None of that happens again under my watch. This is the WNBA. That's the Women's National Basketball Association. If you're not down with the national part, then you can go play overseas. But here, it's the Women's National Basketball Association. And we're not going to be disrespectful to our nation, to our veterans, to anybody. We're going to be unified and we're going to play ball. And the woke stuff has got to go. And that includes propping up the whole sexual preferences thing. People don't want to hear about who you're sleeping with. People don't want to hear about that. Listen, we don't have time for that. The sexual preference stuff, while at the same time, some people allege that if you're not down with that, then it's a problem in the league. Then you're not treated right. Then, you know, if you're pregnant, then that's an issue. Allegedly, I said, by more than one person, by the way. And if you have traditional values, somehow that doesn't get propped up. But the other stuff, it's all up in it. Cutting it out if I'm commissioner of the league. Moving on. Another thing, fourth thing I would do, and again, these are not necessarily any particular order. They may be, I don't know, but here they are. So number 4, I would do, please cut out the silly interviews during the game. This is a little bit, you know, not quite as deep as the other ones I mentioned, but it's still important. Cut out those silly interviews during the game, please. It's annoying. Fans don't like it. Coaches don't like it. Players don't like it. Who likes it? Why are we doing it? Why during the course of the game, the coach is trying to watch the game and now she got to talk to you while the ball is in play? Or players have to do it. You know, they came out of the game, so they were on the bench. So now, you know, usually when we're watching TV and we see that they got the split screen, everybody's like, move, get out the way. I want to see the game. Like, I don't want to hear from so-and-so right now. I don't know whose idea that was, but it stinks. I've not heard one person say they love it. Why are we doing it? I'm cool with miking players and coaches. I'm cool with that. But just drawing them away for that during the course of the game, you know, you're trying to be, I don't know what you're trying to do, actually. I guess you think it's going to be interesting to fans and stuff, but let me give you a secret. It's not interesting. We don't want it. Stop it. Let's watch the game. That's number 4. And number 5, I know this is probably controversial, but you're trying to present a certain image. Like I said, it's in the presentation. I would institute some kind of dress code. I already mentioned about those t-shirts and the Black Lives Matter and the, you know, what is it? Black Girls Rock and all that stuff, or white Girls Rock. You know, that wouldn't go over well. The White Girls Rock. Anyway, so I mentioned that. But even in addition to that, as commissioner, I need some kind of dress code. Some people come in, the camera's on them. They're coming in to play. They're players. They're coming in. Some are looking beautiful. Some are looking like dudes, and some look like hookers. Let's just be honest. Now, the first two, it's your style, I guess. That's fine. If you want to look beautiful and extra, flashy, that's fine. That's fine. Looking beautiful. Your young ladies look beautiful. The dude thing, not my preference, but if you want to come in looking like the dude, then come in looking like a dude, I guess. But so yeah, not a problem with that. Problem is the ones coming in looking like hookers. It's about presentation. Don't come to the game with your breasts hanging out. And we're seeing that breasts hanging out, everything, other things hanging out, hanging up, hanging out, just not appropriate. The league needs to decide its target audience. From what I can see, they seem to want young people. They seem to market toward young people. They want young people to be drawn to it. So, be an example. Same thing when you're talking to the media. Same thing when you're trying to bum rush people on the court. Who are you targeting? Who's going to be impressed by that? Who are you negatively influencing? Your breasts all hanging out. You got young boys, young girls coming to the games. Some people want to bring their kids to the game. They don't know what they're going to see. Is somebody going to body check somebody? Is somebody, camera shining through them, walking through the tunnel, breasts hanging out, all that, or on television? If you're marketing young people, if that's important to you, and it seems to be, you seem to say that, then you need to present yourself a certain way. I'm not saying dress like a nun. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying a wool sweater all up to here. I'm just saying, come on. Right? That's what I'm saying. It's in the presentation. And before you say, Adrienne, you just old fashioned. Well, there's something to be said for some old fashioned values. And I admit I got some values, but jobs have dress codes. Jobs have dress codes. This is a job, really. It's a job. It's a business. So I say, I'm commissioner, I'm implementing that. I don't know what these people's contracts say and stuff like that right now. So that all has to figure into all of this that I'm talking about. But everything I can do as a commissioner to implement these things, that's what I'm doing. All right. So actually, you know what? Frankly, you want to talk about old school? I miss the days when coaches came to games looking like coaches and not like the players. When did they change that? Like 2020 or something like that? I liked when the coaches looked. I modeled my own style when I was coaching after Coach Pat Summitt. Her suits, she always looked good. I missed that on the sideline. It's like, which one's the player, which one's the coach? I don't know. I can't tell. But anyway, that's just me. I'm not saying they have to go back to that. I'm saying there should be a certain dress code, and it should involve, presenting yourself and representing the company well. All right. So those are my 5 things. I'm sure I could come up with more, but this is what the first 5. I want to give you more than you can chew, but I want to leave you with this thought. Okay. There's a very popular, well-known preacher. I won't even say his name. It's not necessary, but he preached a message I understand many years ago now, and it was entitled, "Can you stand to be blessed?" Can you stand to be blessed? What that means is, so often we say, I want the door to open. I want to be blessed. I want great opportunities. I want moments to come before me that I can do something with, that I could take the ball and run with it. I want my chance. I want to be blessed. But the question is, can you even stand to be blessed? Because a lot of times when the blessing comes, we don't even know what to do with it. We don't handle it right. We totally miss the mark. And we are seeing that right now in the WNBA. When Caitlin Clark came on the scene, many of us were able to say, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. There are more eyes on the league than has ever been. And now people will be able to see the talent, yes, in that young lady, Caitlin Clark, but also in so many others they never knew about. They didn't care about. And I've heard many people say that. Like, oh my goodness, I've become a fan of other players. There's so many more eyes on. They went from being in the airport for hours and hours and hours to having charter flights. their salaries are going to go up, could go up, right? They're getting people to listen as they speak at these interviews, etc., because there are more eyes, because this is a moment. And why would I say I need to implement changes from a leadership perspective? If I'm commissioner of this league, from a leadership perspective, because this is your moment. And it's already looking like you don't know what to do with it. You're already fumbling it. Instead of being embracing it, you got players who are jealous about it. You've got coaches who are jealous about it. You've got legends from the past who are jealous about it, and they're just messing it up. Sometimes you get one moment, and that's all you get. And if you don't handle it well, you've got no one to blame but yourself. And that moment may never come again. I'm saying, I believe if the WNBA doesn't take full advantage wisely of this moment, they may never recover from it. Can they stand to be blessed? Because the blessings are there, but are they gonna handle it well? And that's why if I'm the NBA that has been bankrolling the WNBA for over 27 years, I'm in on every one of these things. I'm in on the media thing. I'm in on it. I'm in on it, and I mean in on it, meaning I'm requiring it. I'm giving my nod to it. I'm saying you got to do it. With the officials, if I'm the NBA, I'm saying, yep, you got to do it. If it's cutting the woke stuff and getting focused on all these superfluous things that don't bring people together but divide people, I'm saying get it together. If I'm the NBA, I'm saying the silly interviews that annoy fans, that drive people away, the dress code that hurts your brand and keeps people from wanting to have young people, other people, all this stuff, and more. Again, the first three are probably more intense, if I'm the NBA. And why am I forcing it as the NBA? Because we're bankrolling you. And because if you're doing things that keep you from growing, it means that you continue to be reliant on us to finance you. When you come and say, I'm just going to say whatever I want to the media, you're forgetting who's paying your way. The NBA. Speak up. No, you're not going to just say whatever you want. You're not going to get up to the podium and act the fool. You're not going to do it. Officials, you're not just going to be all, willy-nilly with your job. People don't want anything to do with that. And we're paying for it. So you've got a certain amount of time to get your mess together. And if you can comply, then we can continue to work with you until you're self-sufficient. But if you can't comply, if you don't want to make the changes from the top, then count us out. It's just that simple. So again, from a leadership perspective, there are some things that have to come into play. And whereas some of them are not as important as others, maybe you want to, let's keep doing the interviews. Oh my goodness. The dress code, I think it's important for sure, but definitely these three: that media training, the official training, that woke stuff that people are tuning out of, don't want, keep it out of there. Hey, this is your moment. So I'm going to ask that question that preacher asked. Can you stand to be blessed? You've got this moment. What are you going to do with it? All right. Y'all can chop it up in the comments. What do you think? Remember, we always want to do it respectfully. And again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I appreciate it. I will catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.